Raditz heads towards Earth, but due to his nature, he decides to study it for a bit longer. He'd rather have a backup plan just in case the Earthlings and his brother are surprisingly strong. His backup plan? To transform into an Ozaru. After landing on Earth a few weeks earlier than canon, he researches the planet, until coming to terms and understanding the Earth's lunar cycles. He chooses to begin his quest and to find his brother during a day he knows there will be a full moon. Raditz encounters Piccolo while heading towards the highest power reading on the planet, but he realizes that this guy is nothing, so instead he resigns and begins to travel towards the next power. Since this is a different day, Goku and Gohan have already visited Master Roshi and the rest. Now they're just resting at home, but Goku feels this incredible power level appear at his door. Goku senses that something is wrong and tells Chi-Chi to call Bulma, just in case. After a small altercation where Goku refuses to join his brother, Raditz kidnaps Gohan, just like in the original. Goku, laying on the ground after a hit to the stomach, pleads with Chi-Chi to call Roshi and Bulma once more, to warn them and get their help. It's then when Piccolo shows up, telling him that though they are bitter enemies, this Raditz guy seems to be a much greater threat to Earth. It takes them a little bit to find them without the Dragon Radar, and halfway through their search, they stumble upon Bulma. She hands Goku the Dragon Radar and follows them behind, with Krillin, Roshi, and Yamcha, whom she reluctantly called upon. Piccolo and Goku begin their battle, but they don't really stand a chance. It's then when Piccolo reveals his new technique. Raditz was beginning to get a little worried. He didn't expect so many key attacks and various techniques coming his way. These Earthlings, they have many strange techniques up their sleeves. He was right about being cautious. This is when the sun finally sets down. It's no longer dusk, now it's nighttime. Raditz laughs as he states that everyone on this rock is now doomed. He looks at the sky and transforms into an Ozaru, shocking the two fighters. Goku realizes that this is the monster that killed Grandpa Gohan, and recognizes that it must have been himself who did it. He apologizes to his grandpa under his breath and says that he'll soon be seeing him. Raditz begins to rampage, and it's clear to Piccolo and Goku that they have no chance of stopping him. Raditz smacks Piccolo out of the way and stomps Goku, breaking apart his bones. This is when Gohan bursts out of the Saiyan pod, enraged after hearing his dad cry out. He looks up towards the towering behemoth and catches a glance of the moon. Gohan, still furious, roars into the night sky, transforming into an Ozaru. His eyes focus on Raditz and lunges towards him. The two giants clash as it becomes apparent that Gohan's rage boost carried over to the Ozaru state. Piccolo attempts to dodge out of the way of the monkeys' battle, even grabbing onto the injured Goku. Krillin, Roshi, Bulma, and Yamcha arrive. Bulma tells Piccolo that the only way to stop the rampaging monkeys is to cut their tails. Piccolo and the other fighters attempt to do this, but they can't quite find an opportunity. After a while, the Ozaru Gohan begins to lose stamina, and Raditz picks him up, throwing him into a nearby mountain, shaking the ground. Raditz roars out loud, shaking the earth. He didn't have quite a lot of control over himself, but he knew who his enemies were. As Raditz turns around to the remaining fighters, Raditz begins to charge up a mouth beam. This is when Gohan stands up, almost as if he understood that his father was in danger. What appears to be white ki begins to surround him. Just as Raditz turns around, he watches as Gohan jumps onto him like an enormous wrecking ball, wrapped in dense ki. Ozaru Gohan bulldozed onto Raditz, shattering his armor. The force of the battle was enough to cause shockwaves across the continent, as if it was an earthquake. Piccolo and Krillin wasted no time using this opportunity to cut off their tails. Krillin using his secret technique, the Destructo Disc, and Piccolo blasting off Raditz's tail with a Masenko. The injured Raditz fell onto the ground, with a naked Gohan on top of him. He brushes the kid away as he weakly stands up. Piccolo, Krillin, and Roshi get in a battle stance, but Raditz says that his two allies will be heading towards Earth soon enough to avenge him. Goku, who was being helped up by Bulma, chimes in, declaring that everyone here is ready to defend their planet, especially from these monsters. Raditz chuckles, coughing up blood in the process. He simply tells his dear brother not to forget that he's a monster too, and that brat, especially that brat. Piccolo raises an eyebrow. Raditz collapses to the ground as Roshi picks up Gohan. Everyone turns their back on Raditz and start to walk away. But Goku senses something. He sees Raditz, who stood back up, getting a second wind, rushing at Roshi, who's holding Gohan. Goku leaps towards the incoming attack, pushing Roshi and Gohan out of the way as Raditz's fist pierces through him. Gohan wakes up from falling onto the floor and sees his father mortally wounded. Raditz curses under his breath, but he smiles, stating that he's content that if he's going to hell, he'll be taking his brother with him. Goku coughs up blood, telling Gohan to take care of his mother for him, and to tell her that he doesn't think he'll be able to make it for dinner. Gohan, Krillin, Roshi, and Bulma cry out as Goku and Raditz take their last breath. Krillin promises Gohan to take care of him while Goku's gone, but then Piccolo kicks him away, kidnapping Gohan. Goku goes through the checkout center in the other world and travels through Snake Way to meet King Kai. Meanwhile, Piccolo begins his training with Gohan. Instead of letting him survive on his own in the wild for 6 months, Piccolo instead tries to investigate the Saiyan tail. He believes that if Gohan can control it, then perhaps he can become something even greater than himself. During the first night of the full moon since Raditz fight, Piccolo doesn't destroy the moon. Instead, he yells at Gohan to control himself and his tail, but to no avail. In order to prevent the rampaging monkey from causing any more damage to the plane, Piccolo simply yanks Gohan's tail to restrain him. Afterwards, once morning comes, Piccolo begins to teach Gohan about meditation and how to control his emotions during times of great stress. After Goku arrives at King Kai's planet, he trains with him to learn the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb. During his training, however, Goku couldn't forget about his tail, his brother, and the Ozaru transformation he witnessed. One day, Goku asks King Kai if he can see his brother, which completely surprises him. King Kai says that he's in hell, and asks why would Goku want to see him. Goku simply says that if he's preparing to fight against the 2 strongest Saiyans, then he needs to learn as much as he can about the tail and his heritage. Reluctantly, King Kai does send Goku to hell. Goku is escorted personally by the Oni to reach Raditz's hell. Goku begins to ask questions to his brother about his people and his family. Raditz is arrogant and refuses, claiming he's too weak to be asking such questions. Goku says that he's gotten a lot stronger since the last time they met, and asked if he can fight. Raditz accepts, and the brothers begin to fight once more. But this time, Raditz is easily outclassed and beaten by Goku. The younger brother asked if he changed his mind. Raditz relents, saying that he'll tell him whatever he wants to hear. Thus, he says that he knows everything about the Ozaru transformation, their tales, and their people's history. Raditz reveals that he always hated Kakarot for getting a chance to live free on his own terms while he and the rest of his people were enslaved by Frieza. Goku says that it doesn't have to be this way, and that there's still a chance for him to make things right and prove them wrong. That low-class warriors can be as strong as they want to be, as long as they train hard enough. Goku asked his brother just how someone could reach the point where they could control the Ozaru transformation. Raditz says that he doesn't know. He can't control it himself, but he understands that Vegeta is able to, and knows a little about how to get there. For the next few months, Goku trains with Raditz, even being led into King Kai's world, under the condition that he won't cause any trouble, and that he'll return to hell peacefully. Goku claims that, as a child, he felt that he was able to harness the great power of the Ozaru in his base form. Perhaps if he continues this training and focuses on keeping the Ozaru power, then he could utilize it as a power boost on top of the Kaioken. Over time, Raditz and Goku warm up to each other a little bit. They both become stronger, and Raditz becomes a little friendlier, especially liking Bubbles. At one point, Raditz even apologizes for bringing Vegeta to his planet and getting them killed. Goku says that when the Saiyan's threat is over, he'll be sure to visit him in hell, and maybe even think about bringing him back somehow. On the last day of training, on King Kai's planet, the Kai realizes to his horror that he miscalculated just how long it would take for Goku to get back to Earth. Raditz decides to help his little brother out, picking him up and launching him out as far as he could. Meanwhile, on Earth, during the Saiyan fight, Nappa planted the Cyberman to test the Earth's greatest fighters. But when one is about to jump onto Yamcha, out of nowhere, Gohan kicks him away. It instead explodes into Nappa. He's not too hurt, but his armor shatters. Vegeta's quite curious about this Saiyan halfling, as Nappa laughs, saying that this kid might be fun to play with. A lot of the battle happens similarly, such as Chaozu sacrificing himself and Tien passing away. But the bravery of Gohan makes a difference. When Piccolo, Yamcha, and Krillin team up to attack Nappa, Gohan actually manages to attack as well. And not just a punch, but a giant blast of his own. Nappa swears revenge on the kid, but perhaps Gohan has become too sure of his own strength, as when Nappa blasted him once more, he gets ready to deflect the mouth beam. Piccolo watches this in awe, but knows that Gohan doesn't have the strength to do this. Piccolo jumps in the way and is hit directly by the blast. Then Namekian tells Gohan to harness the power of the Ozaru just as he has been trying to teach him all along, and that he's his only friend. This causes Gohan's eyes to fill with tears, but only for a second, as his pupils break and the roar of the Ozaru shakes the ground beneath him. Yamcha and Krillin can only watch as Gohan's aura glows green and he bursts clean through Nappa, similarly to how his father did long ago to the Demon King Piccolo. Nappa dies, but Vegeta won't allow this kid to take him down. While Gohan floats above Nappa in anger, powering up, Vegeta blasts his back. This burns him gravely and causes Gohan to crash down, though a figure saves him. That orange key symbolizes their safety, as Goku is welcomed to Earth once more. Gohan was completely passed out, but Goku could still feel the warmth of the power within him. Something incredible, exactly the kind of power that him and Raditz had been trying to figure out. Now that he knew what it felt like, it was time to tap into it. Vegeta and Goku arrive at the plains as they prepare for the fight. They talk about how Saiyans and low-class warriors are, but now Goku has more context. They fight as Goku is forced to use the Kaioken ×2 just to keep up. This version of Goku is slightly stronger than canon, thanks to his additional training with Raditz. Vegeta becomes angrier as the battle continues. He realizes that this low-class scum is actually surpassing him. He asks how a weakling like him got so strong, and Goku says that he wouldn't have gotten this far without his friends, or his brother. Vegeta laughs, saying that Raditz was just a weakling and a total disgrace to the Saiyan race. Goku begs to differ, saying that Raditz didn't have a choice nor a chance to improve or get any better, but that he's starting to now. Goku extends his hand out to Vegeta, asking him if he wants a chance as well. Vegeta stares at Goku before spitting on the floor and slapping his hand, stating that he'd rather die than join a low-class trash. The fight reconvenes, and Goku continues to dominate the battle, although Vegeta is still keeping up. Vegeta, in this desperation, launches a Power Ball up to the sky and transforms into an Ozaru, saying that Kakarot has no hope of beating him now. But as he's transforming, he looks at Goku, who's smiling mischievously. This is exactly what he needed. The blood waves would only help him in tapping into an Ozaru. Goku recalled the way his tail felt as a kid, the way he pierced through Piccolo, and the horror he felt in realizing that he had been the one to kill his grandpa. Then he felt it. The same warmth he felt within Gohan. It was crazy to him that his son achieved it first, but thankful and proud. Now what he had to focus on was remaining in control. Goku's pupils ripped apart and turned golden as his hair stood up, his aura dying green. Ozaru Vegeta had no idea what was happening, but recognized the power increase. He couldn't read his ki, but felt an incredible power. He didn't like to admit it, but this would be an Ozaru versus Ozaru battle. Goku and Vegeta clashed against one another. Goku's whole body against Vegeta's single fist. But it was difficult to remain in control, while the anger he felt over the loss of his friends bubbled within. Krillin, Yamcha, and Gohan watched from afar, but even at this distance they realized what was happening. Gohan didn't remember his angered attack, but both Yamcha and Krillin recognized it. That this was the same thing that was happening to Goku. Krillin whispered, "Please, Goku, you have to control it." Goku managed to grab onto Vegeta's finger and ran down his body, slamming him against the ground. Vegeta pointed his arm out, firing a ki ball. The two continued to clash punches, but each one of them had an edge. While Vegeta was much larger and had better ways to attack this way, Goku could move around Vegeta. This bothered the prince greatly, and he fired multiple mouth beams throughout. Goku sped above the beam, turning around the blast until finally reaching Vegeta's snout and kicking him in the face. But as the Ozaru fell to the ground, he used his leverage to kick him back up and smacked Goku in the face. The two fighters looked at each other. Goku opened his mouth and a green beam began to charge up. Vegeta did the same, and a purple one charged up. The two roared as they blasted at each other. The beams clashed and Goku seemed to be losing the fight. But in this last second of right mind, he utilized the Kaioken ×3, finally pushing back against Vegeta, defeating him. Goku descended down, and without thinking, ripped Vegeta's tail clean off. He held it up to the sky and threw it. Vegeta de-transformed. The Z-Fighters returned, but they couldn't believe what they saw. The rock formations were replaced with ash, and all that remained was Goku floating as his green aura glowed and scattered the ash. Vegeta laid on the ground, trying to reach his spot. Yamcha approached his friend, while Krillin held Gohan back, afraid of what was happening. Yamcha tapped Goku's shoulder, and Goku responded by quickly turning around and slamming his fist against Yamcha's chest, sending him flying off. Krillin caught Yamcha, but watched as Goku started to rush towards him. Krillin threw Yamcha down over to Gohan and defended himself. There was no way he could keep up with his best friend, but he had to do what he could to get Gohan away. The kid refused to leave. Yamcha tried to stop him as Gohan got close and personal, telling his father to calm down. The two fought for a while, with Goku getting close to gravely injuring his son. When Goku's about to end it all, Gohan's eyes once again bright up yellow, only for a split second, blasting his father off with a mouth beam. Goku was thrown back, but caught himself. Gohan fell on one knee. As that power caused him a lot of strain, his father began to float towards him. Gohan said,
"Dad, please, you know who you are. Remember all the times together? When you saved me from the waterfall? Please, this Ozaru isn't you. You can't let this power destroy the Son Goku within."
Goku, who had now grabbed onto Gohan forcefully, felt his son's tear fall onto his hand. Then, boom. Nothingness. A huge woof of air blowing everyone away. And once the dust settled, Goku and Gohan were on the ground. He thanked his son and smiled. Krillin and Yamcha hugged them tight, but heard Vegeta's spaceship blasting off. Goku clenched his fist, but relaxed it after a second. He couldn't let himself get that angry. Not again. He had to control that power. Now, he was just hungry. He wanted to go home. Goku turned to Krillin and Yamcha and said that they would bring their friends back, and maybe even a new ally. He just had to make sure to control this power. Krillin nodded. He knew what he meant. Their next destination? Planet Namek. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. This video wouldn't have been possible without the help of Rajmain, who ended up helping me with the editing on this one, as well as Professor Chimp. As always, him and I just toss ideas around to each other, until, something sticks. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I think the editing was incredible. I don't know about you guys, but it was super dynamic and stuff. I'm really impressed. I want to give a shout out to my Super Saiyan Legend and my Super Saiyan God members of the channel. Obi-Wan Fun, Cage, Midnight Combatant, Small IQ, Kyle, Orlando Castellano, Darko Roktansky, Zeta07, Eric, The Real Samuel Randall, Anthony Note, and Zachary Croy. These videos would not be possible without you guys. If you want to know how to become a member, be sure to click the join button down below. Also, let's try to get this video to 3,000, 4,000 likes. It lets me know that you guys enjoy this type of content, and if I should make a sequel. By the way, if you haven't checked it out, my last video, What If Goku Met Bardock in Hell, is doing pretty well, and it was a lot of fun to do. I'm also planning the fourth part of What If Bardock Went to Earth with Goku. It's just taking a little longer because I'm having a little bit of trouble with the Buu arc. You know how it is. Anyways, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And comment down below any what if suggestions you have. Until we meet again, guys. See ya!
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Smugstick, unless you want to be destroyed.
Lord Beerus, that's hardly fair. But also, don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified when he uploads new videos.